All right, this is a quick video showing you how to do this index fossil profile assignment. You're going to start off with an individual letter. So each student gets a different letter. I'm going to do letter Z. Okay, and so that letter Z corresponds to this index fossil on the reference table. And so the name of that index fossil is right here, Mucrospirifer. So for the fossil name, I'm going to write that down. So this is Mucrospirifer. Since that's letter Z, that corresponds to this section here, and I see Z in this column, in this strip, and that's a type of brachiopod. So under family name, I'm going to write brachiopod. Once I know that I'm looking at Z, I can figure out the geologic era, period, and epoch. And so I read across the reference table until I get to this section. And so it's in this row. So that means that the geologic era is the Paleozoic. Okay, the geologic period is the Devonian. Notice here's period. Okay, and then the epoch, well, if I look at where Z is, it's right about in the middle of this row. So that would be the middle Devonian. And so those three would be for the era, it's Paleozoic. The geologic period is the Devonian. And the epoch is the middle Devonian. So we just write middle. Once I know that it's in the middle Devonian, I can look for the age in millions of years. And so this scale right here is the age in millions of years. So the Devonian goes from 416 to 359 million years ago. So I approximate the age. Somewhere in here might be about 400 million years old. Next, I'm looking for the geologic events happening at this time period. And so I read across back to page 9. And all of these events here in this row are important geologic events that happened during this time period. So I'm going to write down the one that's in bold, and that is the Akkadian orogeny, which basically means that mountains were forming. And that's what an orogeny is. It's a mountain building event. That's all the information that I can pull from pages 8 and 9 of the reference table. What I want to do next, though, is use pages 3 and 2 to answer the next set of questions. So what the piece of information I need to know is that Mucrospirifer is from the Devonian. And so knowing that, I can then turn to page 3 on the reference table. Okay, and this is the generalized bedrock of geology of New York. You've seen this before. And I look for the periods, and I find Devonian. And so Devonian is this symbol, like little polka dots. And so that's going to correspond to somewhere on the reference table. And you can see that this symbol here corresponds to this section right here in southern New York. Okay, and so I'm asking for a latitude and longitude of where this fossil can't be found. So I have anywhere in this section will work. Okay, so I'm going to pick just a location in here. I'm going to pick Ithaca, New York as a location where I could go and find that fossil. Okay, again, because it's from the Devonian, it matches this zone, this symbol here, and that's a city, Ithaca, within there. So the latitude and longitude we're going to do just like we did in the past. You can use either degrees in a decimal or degrees in minutes. So here's my 42-degree north line. I'm going to approximate the latitude of Ithaca to be about 44.4 degrees north. And its longitude is going to be 76.5 degrees west. Now, type of rock, you should be able to tell me what if it's sedimentary, igneous, or metamorphic. But again, if you go back down to the key, it tells you, hey, this is a sedimentary rock. So I fill that in. Okay, the specific rock names are those that are listed right next to the name Devonian. So I see limestone, shale, sandstone, and conglomerate. So the specific rock names, that's what I write. Okay. Next, the closest city. Well, I already picked a city that's close to the location I have. So I'm going to pick Ithaca as the name of the city where I could find that fossil. Next, I want to know what's the distance from Plattsburgh to the city. So I can really just make a mark, hold my piece of paper up. I can make a mark at Ithaca. I can make a mark at Plattsburgh. And then I can compare them to the scale I have at the bottom here. And I can figure out exactly what the distance is. So there's 50, oops, plus another 50, so it's 100. And I just keep using this scale, plus another 50. Actually, those are, I'm sorry, these are increments of 80 because I'm doing it in kilometers. That's another 80. Plus this little section here is about 30 kilometers. So each of these I marked off was 80. So we have 80, 160, 240, 320, 350. So the distance from Plattsburgh to Ithaca as the crow flies is 350 kilometers. The last piece that you need to do for this is figure out the landscape region. And so that's really where, here's where Ithaca is. And so all I need to do is to find that exact spot on the map on page 2. So on page 2, Ithaca would be right about here. These two maps of New York are the same size, the same shape. They're meant to be used together. So if I'm right here on the map on page 3, that means that's going to be right here on the map on page 2. And that landscape region is the Allegheny Plateau. So for landscape region, I'm going to write Allegheny Plateau. All right, good luck.